Well, great day, everyone. We are so excited to be you at noon today. Thank you so much for joining us today. So everything concerning us in our health and our wealth, everything that God wants us to prosper, we're doing it right here at Christ Temple Apostolic Church. So today we have a health coach, and I'm going to bring her on. She's going to introduce herself to you. And so engage with us in the chat, talk to us, and we'll be able to get some of your questions if you have some throughout the broadcast today. But none other than Sister Helen Johnson. Guys, go ahead and put some hearts in the chat and help me to bring on. All right, Sister Helen Johnson. There you go, guys. Go ahead and give us some hearts and some claps. So glad to have you on today. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm doing great.
You're looking amazing.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
You know, yes. It's loaded right now. The chat is loaded. They're online. They're at lunchtime. They've taken a break to hear what you have to say. So let's start off first, because this is a global platform. It's not just for our church, our ministry, but this is around the world. I want people to know, who is Helen Johnson?
Okay, well, first of all, thanks, Elder Michelle, for having me today. So I appreciate that. I'm Helen Johnson. and I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York. Yes. And so I've been in Texas probably for like over 30 years.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I've also been in the health industry for so many years.
Hmm.
And so even at one point, okay, I've worked in a hospital for many years, and I've seen how the hospital works
Hmm.
and all that, and worked with a number of great doctors and nurses and so forth. And so I also went to nursing school.
Hmm.
I was in nursing school at one point. I
Okay.
thought that was my calling. I was actually in nursing school, um, but it wasn't. It
Yeah.
wasn't. And I have so much respect for those nurses, who work really hard, and especially during this pandemic. I,
Yeah.
I just can't imagine. But
Yeah.
like I said, I was in nursing school at one point. I thought that was where God was having me to go, but
Hmm.
apparently it wasn't.
Yeah.
So I'm on this journey now,
Hmm.
the health journey.
Yeah.
And so I've been I've studied the health coaching
Yeah. Let's
and
talk. Let's talk about that.
okay.
So your journey through, being nursing, it was still, caring for the body, taking care of the body.
Yes.
So it's like it led you from one thing to the next thing. Now you're finding yourself as a health coach, and it's something everybody knows you're very passionate about doing. So what inspired you to become a health coach?
Okay, so what inspired me to become a health coach? Okay, what inspired me was I was like pre-diabetic.
Okay.
So I was pre-diabetic,
Yeah.
and also I was borderline blood pressure, high blood pressure.
Okay.
And so I just had to make a choice
Mm-hmm.
because now I'm in school and I realize, okay, Helen, you pre-diabetic, and if
Yeah.
you keep eating the way you're eating,
Mm-hmm.
it's not going to be good.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
going to be good. And so I just decided to challenge myself
Mm-hmm.
for a 21-day journey. This
Wow.
was 3 years ago. I
Mm-hmm.
said, okay, well, let's try to put away the meats, the seafoods, the bacon, and let's see what we can do. So I did it
And
for
that's,
21 days and it just
yeah.
kept going
And
on
going.
and on.
Yeah.
Now, prior to that, my even though I've been a vegan for 3 years, but I've known about vegan for 5 years basically. Because my daughter and her husband, they are vegans. So I would say for 5 years I've been doing the vegan, but I've been like pescatarian, they say, with
Yeah.
the seafoods and different things like that. But for the most part, I just pushed myself. I didn't think I can give up cheese because we all know that cheese is addictive,
Uh-huh.
like ice cream and things that come from the cow. Those things are addictive.
Yeah.
The chicken, I was totally addicted to chicken. I love chicken
Mm-hmm.
back then. So I just challenged myself.
That's
With
good. So let me interject here. The moving to being a vegan or pescatarian, I think they call it, it's a tough thing. You talked about 21 days, doing the 21 days. Now, I want to preface this for everybody. In no means are we saying healthy temple is to become a pescatarian or a vegan or anything like that. We're saying healthy temple is understanding what goes into your body and the process that it does to your body and how we can have a healthy temple. Some of the things we can do to at least get started. So maybe you won't have anybody to go completely vegan because, like you said, you enjoy chicken, but maybe there's some things that they really can just start off by, just taking the baby steps to being more conscious about taking care of their temple, just starting off slow. What would you say some of those things would be that they can just start with?
I would just say to just pull back
Uh-huh.
on eating meats 7 days a week. Because I know there are some people who do indulge in meats 7 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
I would say just to pull back gradually,
Mm-hmm.
just slowly, just pull back, from eating cheeseburgers, the French fries,
Uh-oh.
fried chicken,
Mm-hmm.
steak. It's like just pull back slowly. Do it in baby steps.
Mm-hmm.
You know your body.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, I'm not a doctor. And so you would have to really, talk with your doctor about certain things, certain foods, and moving into a different, phase of your life as far
Mm-hmm.
as pulling back things when it comes to, your vegetables, your fruits. Because I know some people mention that their kale
Mm-hmm.
messes up their thyroid,
Okay.
and some people can't handle kale.
Mm-hmm.
So I would think you would have to also, on one hand, talk with your doctor about, switching over to plant based.
Mm-hmm.
But statistics shows, science, that eating a plant based diet will allow you to come off of your medications.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, just it's a slow process.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone is different. And I have this thing here, and it's called, which I've learned years ago, it says bio individuality.
Mm.
So, bio individuality, it just means that no one diet is for everyone.
That's
Okay.
good.
So, I wanted to get that across that each and every person has a unique need. So, there's no one size that fit all.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, I just want to make that clear because even though I'm living a plant based vegan diet, that's what I chose to do. And
Mm-hmm.
it did turn things around for me. And it
That's
has turned things around for millions of other people as well.
right. And we're going to introduce a clip, a video of that. But I want you to introduce us to your world of introduce us to some of the foods that you eat, and then maybe even talk about how you prepare them. Just introduce us to what is plant based, because we're talking about a subject that maybe some people are not familiar with, and then we hear plant based. It's like, okay, I can't have those things I used to have, but you've given me some great recipes. But just kind of introduce us to your world of
Well,
plant based.
okay. My world of plant based is basically I eat a lot of vegetables.
Mhm.
Okay. So I do eat like a lot of kale, broccoli, spinach, turnip greens. I do green onions. I do dandelion greens. And so also I like brown rice.
Okay.
Every now and then I will do white rice
Hmm.
because I like white rice. But I do my whole grain brown rice because it's better for you. I do wild rice and I do quinoa, I think quinoa. And so I do my beans. So I mean, I just love this lifestyle
Yeah.
of eating and just being able to do things different. I love
Hmm.
my mushrooms, so I've also made like mushrooms with the walnuts, and I made it into a taco.
Hmm. Hmm.
So there are so many different ways that you can make this thing work
Hmm.
because, and I know it's not easy. I'm not going to sit here and say it's easy, but I believe you just have to make up in your mind. It's like a mind transformation,
Hmm.
just changing the way you see food
Hmm.
and just learn about the difference of plant based. Now, plant based people basically, there's plant based vegan, but with plant based, there are some that they don't use oils, period.
Mm.
Okay? They don't. They don't cook with oils. Now, oils for me, I would say I only use it about 10% of the time because I use vegetable broth.
Mm.
And when you buy vegetable broth, you want to make sure you read the sodium label
Hmm.
because some vegetable broth has 700 milligrams for a half a cup. That's not good.
Hmm.
Some have 600. I find the one that has low sodium, and it's about 135 milligrams of sodium for a half a cup.
Wow.
And
Wow.
so I think it's a matter of also reading your labels
Hmm.
and yeah, I mean, I'll be doing some cooking and showing people, demonstrating some different type of foods that they can eat and incorporate, because it makes a difference. I mean, you'll feel better. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's great. I really love this life.
Mhm.
I wish I would have learned about it years ago.
Yeah.
Because in your mind, you think, oh, okay, I grew up on eating steak, veal, because we used to cook veal. We used to
Mhm.
cook lamb chops. We used to do all of that, the salmon. You know, my husband would make a good gumbo and
Mhm.
things like that. And I mean, yes, I mean, but I decided that I have to take care of this temple.
Mhm. That's
That's
good.
it.
That's good. And so you brought up a point about, being able to take care of your temple. Some of the things that we can do if we do have high blood pressure, if we have diabetes, if we have some of these ailments. Are you saying that there's been statistics that, our bodies have the ability to reverse it if we change kind of what we eat? Is
Oh,
that a
yes.
possibility?
Oh, yes. 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 Given a chance that our body can heal itself, and we
Yeah.
have to work with our bodies.
Mhm.
And a lot of times, when we put things into our bodies reject it. And when
Mhm.
it rejects it, so now what happens is you become a diabetic,
Mhm.
you end up having high blood pressure and heart disease and all this stuff. But if you change the dynamics of it, it can be reversed.
Wow.
And then there's a doctor here, which is in Houston, Dr. Montgomery, a
Yeah.
cardiologist. He's on vegan,
Mhm.
and he has changed the dynamics for his patients, reverse
Mhm.
a lot of chronic illness by those patients changing the way they see foods, getting on a plant-based diet, getting off of their medicines. I
Mhm.
mean, just stories after. I mean,
That's
it's
so,
phenomenal.
let's run a story that you gave. This
Yes,
is
let's.
really amazing. This is a great point to actually share this story. So, guys, stand by. We're gonna share a story with you that is a mayor out of, where is he from? Is he from New York?
Yes, Brooklyn, New York,
Brooklyn, New York. Okay,
Mayor
let's go ahead
Eric
and
Adams.
okay, let's share this story.
People often ask me about, my diabetes diagnosis and, what did I do to deal with it? I felt as though, this is part of getting older. We heard these stories before. You get older, you're supposed to get some form of chronic disease. And there was almost a surrender until the vision loss. It was like a wake up call and say, you know what, if I'm going to have to lose this war of health, it's not going to be without a battle. I went to my computer and Googled, reversing diabetes. And I was just hoping to get a glimpse in what's in the universe of slowing down the progression of how could I slow down my eye loss? How could I slow down the nerve damage? How do I slow it down? But when I started to see the R term used over and over again, reversal, 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 and I started reading some of the stories, I said, you know what, something may be to this. And that is when I started the journey of saying, you know what, it's no more living with, it was about reversing. And I moved in that direction. 3 weeks after that, my eyesight cleared up. My ophthalmologist, said, what did you do? What happened here? Because she told me to turn in my driver's license. She stated that you are no longer legally able to drive, you know. And 3 months after, following the diet, my blood pressure normalized. My A1C went down to a 5.7 to a pre-diabetes level. The ulcer went away. The nerve damage in my hands and feet went away. The numbness in my thigh went away. It was just amazing, that how fast the body responded. It was never my DNA, it was my dinner. Mother joined me at the age of 80. 15 years as a diabetic, 7 years on insulin, 2 months going whole food plant-based, threw her insulin away.
I'm happier now. Yes, I'm happier now, and I learned a lot to know that I don't have to eat all that meat and all those unnecessary things that I was eating to, if it wasn't for my wellness, it was horrible for me to be eating like that. I would be bloated. I would feel uncomfortable. That's the best thing I could ever did for myself. Yes.
The body is like saying, I want to heal you. But every time I try to, you're making sure that you give me more poison to prevent me from doing my job. And all I did was get out of my body's way.
Wow, powerful, very, very powerful. One of the things he said, Helen, he said he had to get out of his body's way.
Yes.
And
Eric
I mean,
Adams,
that's
having completed
absolutely
3 terms in the New York
Uh-oh.
City Senate and 22 years
Uh-oh.
as a member of the New York City Police Department. After being diagnosed with type.
There we go. Okay. But that was amazing, just what he said. And I know, we've been eating this way as a culture for a long time, right? We grew up eating this way: smothered chicken, smothered pork chops, oxtails, all these things. We grew up eating this way. Of course, we would have the greens and things of that nature. But to gradually come out of it, or to change your mind, I believe I saw in the comment section, it's a renewing of your mind. So did you go through a process of where you didn't think you would be able to do it, or was it ever any doubt that you wasn't going to be able to when you first started?
It wasn't a doubt at all. It wasn't.
You just did it. You just made up your mind.
I really shocked myself.
Yeah.
I had a choice to make. Like he said, I had to get out of my way, my body's way. Mm-hmm. And it was a challenge. And I just knew I had to do it.
Yeah.
And I just said I was only challenging myself for 21 days. That's all I was really going to do. And I mean, I did this thing. And I mean, my husband, he would still be cooking the different bacon and stuff on the weekend. Mm-hmm. And I mean, the temptation, the smells, and, they were bringing their chicken and the smells. I was like, I said, nope, it's not going down. But, God allowed me to get through it.
Yeah.
3 years later. And so it was something, the first 6 months I would go into HEB and pass by where I normally pass by the salmon, the seafood section. And I literally felt sick. Wow. I was like, what is this? I mean, then when I talk to other people, they say, yes, once your body's going through. I said, I never felt this way. I could just go up to the counter, get my salmon. But now my body started cleansing. And I would really feel sick and nauseated when I would go to HEB and go past there, and I have to try to avoid that area. But I think for everyone it's just different. I just made up in my mind I wanted to challenge myself and really try to go vegan. That was basically it. Now, another thing also, I don't want people to think that just because you know someone who is vegan, that they're healthy, because not all vegans are healthy. Wow. There are some vegans that eat tons of sugar. Okay. Wow. Yes. They eat tons of salt. Okay. There are some vegans that are diabetic. Okay. Like you just listen to the mayor, and he's on this same group that I'm on. It's the PCRM, the Physicians Committee. And I'm on that every Friday morning. It's a live thing. And I listen to a lot of updates from these different doctors. They're vegan or plant-based doctors, functional medicine doctors. But just don't think that every time, when you see, because I went to a doctor one time and she said, I see a lot of vegans. They're pretty big and they eat a bunch of chips and they eat this, that, and the other. So, like I said, you just have to really Google, like Mayor said, Eric Adams, Google some things. Start researching for yourself. Like my family, we don't care for sugar, okay? Like the other day, I bought this vegan ice cream for the first time, and my daughter introduced me to it, and I bought it from Trader Joe's, real tiny thing. And so the model that I live by, that I was taught in health coach school, is the 80-20 rule. The
Yeah.
80-20 rule is that, Helen, make sure that you're putting in 80% or so of healthy stuff in your body, in your temple. So when I got the little ice cream thing, the vegan, it's okay,
Hmm.
you know. So I just thank God that my family were not into all the sweets. We don't. My
Yeah.
son doesn't like it, so that's a plus.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, it's
That, I mean,
knowledge
you,
is power.
yeah, and you've really elevated our awareness to being able to have a healthy temple. And as we take this journey, this is the launch of iCTAC Media. This is one of the most important areas that we wanted to make sure that we brought in front of not just our congregation, but in front of our digital media audience, because we see people dying prematurely, and that's been one of the things that I've seen, that where is things that we can make some adjustments. And I know for a lot of us, because we didn't gain this weight overnight, we didn't gain this behavior overnight. It's just that we're here and we're having to make a decision. And so you've elevated our faith to say that we can do it. If someone was to decide that they just wanted to change the way that they eat, from breakfast to lunch to dinner, what would you recommend? Them starting with. Just give us kind of like a menu of like maybe a starting breakfast, a lunch, and a dinner.
Well, I would say, well, because I know most people like eggs, right?
Hmm.
And so I think some people they are aware of just eggs. It's a vegan egg, and to use the vegan egg, I use it with a little of the Earth Balance. It's a vegan butter, just
Hmm.
a little. I also cook oatmeal, which I think some people like
Okay.
oatmeal. I
Hmm.
try to incorporate that. I also use almond milk. So
Okay.
there's people who use almond milk, oat milk, coconut milk,
Hmm.
and so I potatoes. I may have hash browns every now and then
Hmm.
because potatoes are okay on the plant-based diet.
Hmm.
So the potatoes, the eggs, but then a person has to know. It depends on where they are in their health. Like they might be on medication, so they may have to really be careful of what they're choosing. But
Hmm.
for a person like yourself or me, or yeah, go with the try the just eggs.
Okay.
If you really love the chicken eggs, just try that.
Hmm.
Tofu, and you have a lot of people talk about the soy in tofu. I would like for them to just Google Dr. Neil Bernard.
Hmm.
He's a part of that committee, and he will tell you all about soy
Okay.
because it has a bad rep. But
Hmm.
some people make scrambled soy, and I've done not scrambled soy, but scrambled eggs out of tofu.
Okay.
Yes, and you use your curry, your turmeric,
Hmm.
and lunch. I do a salad, or some people like tuna fish. I don't know
Hmm.
if you've ever had the garbanzo beans. I do garbanzo beans as tuna fish. I mean, yeah. And I smash it up, and I use the vegan mayonnaise and everything that you would put in your tuna fish. I do
Yeah.
it with beans, and it tastes amazing.
Yeah.
And so for dinner, I do a lot of mushrooms. Like last night, I was gonna post this thing. I did this big tray of Brussels sprouts,
Hmm.
and I roasted it with some bell peppers, small ones, some onions and mushrooms. And so we had that with some wild rice, and we had some beans with it.
Hmm.
So it's just so many different things that you could
So
do.
many different options.
Options,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's good. And I think one of the things that you said that was so key, Helen, you talked about joining these committees, joining these groups, joining communities that are promoting this type of lifestyle. I know
Yes.
there was one community that I joined, and it was specifically about water, how to drink and take in more water. It was almost like a water challenge because our bodies need water. We need to flush our bodies with water.
Exactly.
And I know we'll be talking about that later on. Specifically, you're going to have a challenge for people to drink more water. But there's a question I want you to answer in the comments. Is asking, what is your suggestion for helping people combat the craving of carbs and sugars?
I would just say, just switch them out. Switch
Mhm.
them out. Yeah, I would just say,
Would that be more of detoxing their bodies? It's something that you alluded to earlier. You did the 21-day challenge. And did you find that once you detox your body, you didn't want those things? Did you find that?
right, because my taste buds changed for the
Okay.
sweets and the sugar.
Okay.
So I guess with me, I never was this sugar person, but I know there
Okay.
are a lot of people that are. They
Me.
love their sweets. And so I would turn to fruits.
Okay.
I would turn to fruits, actually. I mean, I love my fruits. And sometimes I have to juice it or do a smoothie,
Yeah.
really, to get it going. You
Yeah.
know, some people could just sit and eat their apples, and I just don't do that all the time. So I have to make smoothies and get my son to eat his fruits through smoothie and juice. But that would be a good thing. It's like just slowly. If a
Yeah.
person knows that they're constantly eating sweets every day,
Mhm.
I would say cut back. And
Mhm.
if you do it on a Monday, if you want your sweet that you're doing, at least for the next 2 days, try some type of fruit that you like.
Mhm.
Incorporate the fruit. Yeah. And I'll have a list of some things that I'll
Yes.
post
Mhm.
of things that would be helpful to switch from eating a lot of the sugary, the donuts, and all of this stuff. And
Yeah.
like me, my husband, every now and then, he would buy the Oreo cookie. It's
Okay.
the peanut butter Oreo cookie. It's
Okay.
vegan. But it's really funny because I only can eat 3 cookies.
Mhm.
And the reason why, if I eat another cookie, my tongue feels like I'm eating a ton of sugar.
Okay. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So yeah, I just think it's slowly. It's a slow process. You
Yeah.
know, it to me, you know what? It's no different than somebody that's hooked on drugs.
Wow.
It's no different.
Wow.
You have that person who is hooked on cocaine, drugs, alcohol, and we turn our nose up to them. But
Mhm.
on the other side of the mountain, you have people who are sugar. The
Mhm.
sugar is just going in their bodies, like,
Yeah.
and it's destroying the cells, not realizing that cancer attracts sugar as
Mm.
well as meats. It attracts it.
Mhm.
It does. So I just think it's a slow process. You have to
This
make
has been great.
your mind. You just have to make up in your mind that, okay, I want to live. I want to be around to see my grandchildren, my great grandchildren. You know,
Mhm.
we don't know when our time is. And one other thing
Well,
is, no matter how healthy we're eating and what we're doing, sometimes things can come upon our bodies.
mhm.
But you want to feel that, okay, I've done everything in my power.
Yes.
This thing I'm facing now, but I've done everything in my power to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that's how I look at life.
Yeah.
That's how I look at life. I mean, honestly, because most doctors only get 8 hours of nutrition in school.
Wow.
And so when you go to your doctor, and if that's all he has, you need to really look into some other doctors
Mhm.
that are functional medicine or, plant-based doctors like Mayor Eric Adams did.
Mhm.
And because he checked with the Cleveland Clinic right, in Ohio,
Uh-huh.
Dr. Esselstyn, and he's great too, Dr.
Yeah.
Esselstyn. So, yeah, it's,
Well,
it's it's just a matter of us just do our own research.
yeah.
Don't just allow, like, I'm talking to you and that's great. But take the time to do your research. We're on Facebook doing stuff, posting. Take the time to research these things, because I'm telling you, America is they in trouble, even with the children. There are
Mhm.
so many diabetic children. The way they're eating nothing but process, process, process. Time they get 20 years old, they'll be faced with heart disease and
Wow.
diabetes. So
Mhm.
it's time now to just change the dynamics of how we see food, having a better relationship with food.
Oh, I like that. Having a better relationship with food. There's something that you said, you texted me about, kind of this montage. Do you remember it? You want me to bring it up?
What's that?
It's something you shared with me about, having a relationship with food and kind of, our thought process, how people need to really begin to have this different mindset about food. It was kind of like almost like a theme.
Right.
Okay. You
Go
remember it?
ahead. Was it
I'll post it later if you don't.
okay? But
I'll,
I do remember one point telling you about having a mind change with food.
yeah,
Um, like many people some people, they have different beliefs, but it's like you're being introduced to God,
yeah,
right? What must I do to be saved?
yeah,
Okay, building a relationship with God, right? So we become focused and we become just all in tune. So I say, what must I do to build a relationship with food
yeah.
in order to keep my temple the way it needs to be?
Wow.
I think it's ludicrous that we constantly are asking for prayer for the same thing that we're going to continue to do. Like the drug addict, he continued to use drugs and it's
Wow.
tearing his body down and his brain cells, and then he wants prayer. So it's the same with people who are eating a certain way, and they're like, well, I need some prayer for this to go away.
Yeah.
It's not going to go away until you decide to make a change.
You got to do the work.
You
You
have
have
to
to
do
do
the
the work.
work. You
Wow.
have to do the work.
That's strong, but it's true. That's
You
strong,
have
but
to
it's
do the
true.
work because
Yeah.
if you continue to do what we're doing, we talk about Alzheimer's, right? And Alzheimer's is not just genetics and hereditary, maybe 9%, but it's the foods that's in your gut because your
Yeah.
gut is another part of the brain, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you have people's brains are becoming
Mm-hmm.
inflamed. So
Mm-hmm.
then Alzheimer's starts creeping up in it,
Yeah.
an inflamed body. So, like I said, it's just a matter of us just doing our homework and
Yeah.
researching for ourselves because this is important. And I
It
tell
is.
my 17-year-old son, and he's catching on to it.
Yeah.
And it's just important. Like you said, we've been trained to think we got to have this, we got to have that. A man don't feel he's a man unless he's having steak in front of him.
A
But then what it's
cowboy
doing is
steak.
it's taking up his arteries slowly. And a
Yeah.
heart attack, it doesn't come to you 2 days in advance to say, hello, if you don't stop what you're doing, I'm about to bust that heart. It
Yeah.
doesn't.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I hope when you get off today, you go back and take a look at all of these chats that they are having a conversation. We're raising the awareness of how to have a healthy temple. And I think it's simply amazing. We've been having this conversation, and you've been such a person of knowledge and resources. And we thank you for lending that, to the ministry. We've set up a group within CTAC Houston Facebook page. The group is called Healthy Temple. You can go and join that group. It is iCTAC Healthy Temple. Go join that group because that is where Sister Helen will be sharing different things that she's learning, resources, and ideas on how you really can take this journey. We also, throughout the year, will also have different challenges. We're planning workshops to help us walk this through because I don't know if you guys are like me. This is something I couldn't do by myself. If I knew somebody else was doing it with me and I had accountability, it makes it a little bit more easier to do. And so we're not going to even jump into this subject because I know how you feel about this, but about the keto. Somebody has mentioned keto. So that's something I know later that you'll be back to talk to us about the importance of knowing what is right for you and not just doing a diet, but committing to a lifestyle. But here's what
Yes.
you said, Helen. I'm going to say this and I want you to give your closing remarks. But this
Okay.
is what you said. You said, my goal is to empower and to encourage people to think deeply and holistically about their relationship with food and build a healthy lifestyle that brings them closer to an abundant life. That
Yeah.
is a powerful, powerful mission statement. And I'm going to post that on our social media page. But thank you so much for lending your gift, your knowledge, your expertise. What I want you to do now is just quote anything that you didn't get a chance to share, with us that you think you want us to get a jump start with, and then how they can connect with you in the iCTAC Healthy Temple, that you'll be engaging with them there. But anything you would like to say in closing?
Well, I would like to just thank you again for this opportunity, because it's just a passion that I have. When you get tired of just seeing people like destroying their temple because they just don't know, and this is innocently done. And so, God won't let me rest. Like, you got to get this out. It's time for a change.
Yeah.
So, but I'm just grateful for the opportunity.
Yeah.
Really grateful for the opportunity. And so, in my closing, I have wrote this down, that I hope people will learn that caring for their temple will help them live an abundant life, because the illness affecting the Black community can be easily cured by incorporating a plant-based food. You can eliminate the habit of choosing foods that raise your blood pressure and increase your blood sugar level.
Wow.
Okay, so it's just a matter of trying to eliminate it slowly. And living abundantly, you'll be able to lose the excess weight and reduce your dependency on your medication and increase your mobility. So abundant living will give you a stronger temple.
Wow.
In time.
Wow, in time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you, everyone, for being with us. What you can look for now is more information from Coach Helen. That's what I'm calling Coach Helen.
Yes.
Sharing this information in the group. It is iCTAC Healthy Temple. Join the group so that you can stay connected to us. There is a book that she's going to be sharing with us, that we're going to read a book together, so we can empower ourselves to take care and to have a healthy temple. Guys, go back to work, go back to whatever you was doing, and have an amazing, amazing day. We love you, and thank you for tuning in today to iCTAC Media. God bless you.